Hi everyone, how are you today? Well, it is the 1st of November. I can't believe we're at the start of another month. But here we are. Um, Last month, as you know, I inked up a lot of pens. I really enjoyed that experience. I thought it might be a little bit overwhelming. At times I had 28 pens inked up, and I think it just allowed me to be a little bit more free with my choices, if that makes sense, because I wasn't sort of just reaching for the same pens and inks all the time. I explored some samples that I had received, which was really lovely. And so I was trying new things and trying different pen and ink pairings as well. Some I absolutely loved and fell in love with. Others, not so much, but that's part of the learning and part of the process, and that's why I enjoy this so much. So I have all but about, I think, 8 pens have inked everything up. So I think it must be about 33 pens that I've got inked up now. So a lot of them are carryovers from last month, and some of them are new ones that I've added for November. Now what I'm going to do is run through and do a little bit of a writing sample like we normally do with each pen and ink pairing, and then I'm going to show you the swatch card for it. And I've actually grouped them in colors, because when I'm writing with them, you'll see that some of the colors initially look very similar, but what you're not seeing is how it flows and how it feels in the pen and how it's writing. So although I look at some inks and I think, oh, I've already got one like that in my collection, that particular ink may not flow as well as another ink, if that makes sense. So you may have two that look the same, but their saturation and their flow is completely different, and they behave differently in different pens. So that's part of the fun of this hobby and working all of that out. Now make sure you stay to the end for my letter giveaway that I do every month. I send out 3 letters with a currently inked sheet, a letter from myself, and a few other little extras thrown in as well. So I offer those at the end of my videos, and you have to comment below on what envelope you think you would like to get, and it's first in, best dress kind of thing. Anyway, so let's get into this. The first one I have, and my voice is a little bit croaky too, so apologies for that. The first one I have is this Royal Jade and Rose Gold TWSBI. I believe it's an Eco Tea. It has a medium nib, and I have got that inked with Diamine Inkvent Holly, and I'm not sure, but I think this could be from the first Inkvent calendar series. It has a high amount of red sheen. I hope you're seeing that. It almost reminds me of, like the Organic Studios Nitrogen. It reminds me a little bit of like that, with that red sheen, in that it can actually smudge and get everywhere if you don't let it fully dry. But it's a beautiful ink, and it flows very nicely. So that's the first one we've got. So I've got my blotting sheet here too. So this is the TWSBI Eco Tea in Royal Jade and Rose Gold with a medium nib, and it is inked with Diamine Inkvent Holly. So that's the first one we have. The second one we have is this Pilot Kokuno, and I have that inked with a sample from Pen Friend Ree. Now this is Van Diemen's Eucalyptus Regnan. It's a beautiful, lovely sort of, I wouldn't say it's a deep green, but it's more of a I guess it's leaning towards that, but it's more yellow based than blue based, I would say. Really lovely colour. So that's the next one, and I've got that in this little pocket pen. So this is the Kawaii Sport Dark Olive with a medium nib and inked with, this is an Australian ink, the Van Diemen's Eucalyptus regnans. It's behaving very nicely in this little pocket pen. Okay, so the next one I have, this is still inked up from September, believe it or not. Every time I pick it up to use it, I love using it, but I'm trying not to write with it too much because I love the pairing so much. So this might be another pen that turns up in a future video. But this is my Pelikan M400 in white tortoise stripe. It has a fine nib on it. It's a very juicy fine nib. And I have that inked with Sailor Shikiori Tokuamatsu. It's a beautiful green. So that's the next one we have. As you can see, I've got a lot of the same or similar colors. So I think there's about 8 green inks for this month. I was also trying to use some of them for or ink them up for Christmas mail, because being November, I will need to send Christmas overseas mail this month in order for it to arrive in time. So that's another reason for the heavy green and red pairings this month. So I'm forgetting my words. So Pelikan M400 white tortoise, I call it the white tortoise stripe. It has a fine nib and inked with, I love this pairing. This has just worked beautifully. Sailor Shikiori Tokuamatsu. Just beautiful. So next one we have is also one left over from last month. This is, I'm just trying to get the shimmer to move in it. This is a TWSBI Eco Tea in mint with a 1.1 stub nib. And I have that inked with a sample from Pen Friend Tanya. It is Colourverse Brain, and it has just a little bit of shimmer. It's behaved beautifully in this pen. It's actually worked really well for me. I've enjoyed using it and will continue to enjoy using it. So that's the other thing. Sometimes inks can look similar on swatch cards, but then when you actually put them in pens, they look completely different. I don't know if any of you have experienced that. So this is TWSBI Eco Tea in mint with a 1.1 stub nib and inked with Colourverse Brain. Next one we have is not that one. It is this one. This is the Esterbrook Esty in Rainforest with a broad nib, and I have that inked with a sample from Pen Friend Tanya, Koyo no Oto Kokiro. It's a beautiful pairing. The person who got me onto this pairing was actually Claire from the Ginger Ninja. So she discovered this pairing with her SD in Rainforest, and she said, oh, it's just perfect, and she is right. So Estabrook, can you hear that squeaking? That's the paper. Sorry about that if it bothers you. Rainforest with a broad nib. It only does it on this paper, on this regalia paper. Losing my train of thought. Kaio no Oto, Kokiro. Just a beautiful, beautiful pairing. So the next one we have, back to this one. We do have this one next. This is the Visconti Van Gogh in the Novel Reader. And we have that inked with Sailor Ink Studio 370. So that's another sample from pen friend Tanya. That's what I mean. It's been really nice to sort of try a lot of these samples and see how they behave in pens. So Visconti, and this is not a colour I would have normally reached for. However, I've really enjoyed it. And inked with Sailor Ink Studio. Whoops, there's a 9 there. 370. Just beautiful. Really love it. Now the next one we have is this River City Pen Company in black green sort of gold. It has a beautiful sort of resin. Hope you can see that. Green, black and gold resin. It has a medium nib. And I have that inked with a sample from my Aussie ink swap partner Gary. And it is Diamine Salamander. So I was really keen to try this ink. So also another green. So River City Pen Company. Black, green, gold. Medium nib. And inked with Diamine Salamander. So that's that one. Next one we have is this Twisby Eco in Persian green. It has a medium nib. And I've got that inked with Robert Oster Citrus. So it's a beautiful, vibrant, bright green. Very different from the other greens that I've got there. Persian green. Medium nib, inked with Robert Oster Citrus. Okay, now moving on to purples. Next one we've got is this Jinhao X750. It has a medium nib on it. It is a metal bodied pen. It is a very inexpensive pen, but writes pretty well. And in that I have got another sample from Pen Friend Tanya, Winter Harlequin Vaudeville 1920. So this is a really lovely deep purple with a heavy green sheen. So Jayne X750. It's got the purple, purple with a medium nib and inked with Winter Harlequin Vaudeville 1920. Really lovely. If I hold that up, can you see the green sheen there on the deep purple? Just lovely. So the next one we have here is this Wing Sun 699. It is a dupe for the Pilot Custom 823. Mine has a medium nib on it, and I have that inked with Diatramentus Alexander Hamilton. So Wing Sun 699 Amber, I think they call it, medium nib, inked with Diatramentus Alexander Hamilton. There we go. Next one in the lineup we've got is this Twisby Eco Lilac with a broad nib. And I have it inked up with another sample from Tanya. It's Diamine Lavender. This is such a pretty purple. So Twisby Eco in lilac with a broad nib and inked with Diamine Lavender. The next one we've got here is this little pocket pen. It's a Pilot E95S and it has a hooded nib. It's a medium nib and it is inked with Diamine Sierra. That is also one that's left over from last month. So I actually did write some pens dry last month. But probably not as many as normal because I kept adding other ones to the list. So this has a medium nib and it is inked with Diamine Sierra. This is another pairing that I have really enjoyed. So that's what we've got so far. Turn the page over. It's kind of dry. Kind of, sort of. Oh, that page is kind of stuck. Let's see if we can pull it out a bit. Okay. So the next one we have is Sailor Pro Gear Slim Princess Kagawa with a medium fine nib. And that is inked up with another sample from Pen Friend Tanya, Sailor Ink Studio 931. I have so enjoyed this pairing that I actually ordered a bottle of this ink. So Sailor Pro Gear, actually I might have to move that over a bit. Sailor Pro Gear Slim, Princess Kagawa, I think that's how you pronounce it. Medium fine nib, and inked with Sailor Ink Studio 931. Just a beautiful pairing. Now the next one is a new to me ink. I've got it in my Pilot Decimo Champagne Pink with the medium nib. And it's inked with Robert Oster. It was a Melbourne Pen Show 2022 collaboration, and it's called Melbourne Rose. Pilot Decimo Champagne Pink. Medium nib and inked with Robert Oster collaboration, Melbourne Pen Show. I'll just put Melb. It was the 2022 and it's called Melbourne Rose. All right. So the next one we've got is this one. It's a relatively inexpensive pen. It's a Sailor Prophet. It has a Fude nib on it. And it is inked with Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara. So you could almost, like, at first I thought, oh, these are very similar. But when you look at them, they're not. And this Fude nib, it's fun to play with, but I don't tend to write with it very much because I'm just no good writing with it. But it's fun because you can kind of get fat lines, thin lines. Apparently, a lot of people use them for sketching and drawing. So Sailor Prophet, it's black gold. Gold. It has the Fude nib and it's inked with Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara. So, but as you can see, like, you can get like a really, really fat line with it as well. As like if you hold it up, you get a more of a like a fine, I guess, writing nib. I'm not very good with my words today. Sorry about that. So the next one is this TWSBI Diamond 580 in pink. Last month I put a broad nib on it and really enjoyed it. At the moment it has Pelikan Edelstein Rose Quartz. That's their ink of the year, Pelikan Edelsteins. And that's another carryover from last month. And you know what? Initially I did not think this was a pink that I would enjoy, but it's really grown on me. And in the broad nib I can actually see the shading in it as well, so I've come to really appreciate it. Inked with Pelikan Edelstein rose quartz. Very nice. Next one we've got is this little Franklin Christoph. It's a pocket pen. It's a model 45 and it's in the blue orchid finish. And I have that inked with a sample from my Aussie ink swap partner Gary, and it's Roaring Clinger's Verdigris. So Franklin Christoph, model 45. It's an eyedropper pen. So I've actually filled up the whole barrel with the sample. I think it's the blue orchid finish, with a medium nib and inked with Roaring Clinger's Verdigris. This actually seems like quite a dry ink too. I don't know whether it's just the pairing that I've got in this pen, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes for the month. So the next pen we've got is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim in Dragon Palace with a medium fine nib. It's also a carryover from last month, and it's inked with Diamine Sargasso Sea. So Sailor Pro Gear Slim. In the Dragon Palace with a medium fine nib and inked with Diamine Sargasso Sea. Next one I've got inked up is a bit of a Christmas ink. I've got it in the Jinhao 100 with a medium nib, and it is Diamine Inkvent Jack Frost. So this ink has a beautiful blue base with a heavy red sheen and a little bit of silver shimmer. And I kind of went against my own rules with this one. I tend to not put shimmer inks in medium or fine nibs, just because I find they don't work so well for me. But this Jinhao tends to be quite juicy, so we'll see how it goes. So apparently they call this they call it rainbow celluloid, but it's not a celluloid material. So it's medium nib inked with Diamine Inkvent Jack Frost. And I might already be regretting putting this ink in a medium nib, because it's already it feels like it could be a little bit clogged. Next one of my favorite pens, Just Turnings. It is a I call it matte rainbow, but it's actually, the material's called oil slick. I got it with a matte finish and it has a medium nib. It's a carryover from last month, and I've got Robert Oster Joshua Thorpe turquoise, which is also a sample from pen friend Tanya. I haven't got a lot left in it, but I've loved the pairing so much. There is no way I'm emptying this. I'm using every little bit of it. So it's the Just Turnings Matte Rainbow. With a medium nib and inked with Robert Oster, Joshua Thorpe turquoise. This is such a pretty turquoise. It gets quite a bit of shading in it as well. So next pen and ink pairing we've got is another carryover from last month. It is the Esterbrook Ink Candy with a medium nib. And I have it inked with Robert Oster collaboration with Pulp Addiction called Blue Addiction. This has been such an enjoyable pairing, and I've really enjoyed writing with this. So Esterbrook Ink Candy with a medium nib, and it is inked with Robert Oster collaboration with Pulp Addiction, which is an online store here in Australia. I will put a link to their website in the description box below, and it's called Blue Addiction. Have really enjoyed that pairing. And next one we have is a TWSBI Diamond 580 with a medium nib, and I have that inked with Pilot Oroshizuku Kuchiku. I've used about half the fill in this. I inked it up last month and I still have about half of it finished. It was a full fill. And for those of you who use TWSBIs, you know they have a huge ink capacity. So TWSBI Diamond 580 in the white rose gold with a medium nib and inked with Pilot Oroshizuku Kujiku. Okay. Next pen we have here is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim in Blue Green Nebula with a medium nib, and I have that inked with Colorverse Gravity Wave. So it's another very teal ink, but it once again is just that little bit different from the one above it, the Oroshizuku Kujiku. So Sailor Pro Gear Slim in the Blue Green Nebula. Medium inked, sorry, did I knock you all there? Inked with Colorverse Gravity Wave. Next one we have here is the Lamy All-Star in Petrol with a medium nib, and I have that inked with a new ink. It's the Robert Oster Darling Harbour, and it's a really pretty sort of soft teal green, but it's like it has a grey undertone. I'm not sure if you can actually see any of that, but it's quite lovely. So subtle is probably a good way of putting it, subtle. So this is the Lamy All Star in petrol with a medium nib and inked with Robert Oster Sydney Darling Harbour. Okay, on the downhill run now, guys. I hope you're still with me. So next one we have is this Just Turnings beautiful pen. It is in the unicorn horn and it has a medium nib, and just get a load of that sparkle and shimmer. You know, it's just gorgeous. So, and I've really enjoyed this pairing. This is, I've got the Pelican Edelstein Jade in this, and it's just been beautiful. I've had this ink in my collection for so long and haven't reached for it for maybe about a year. And using it here, I was like, why haven't I been using this more? And it's just been perfect for this pen. So Just Turnings, unicorn horn, medium nib, inked with Pelican Edelstein Jade. Beautiful, love it. Next one we've got is the Visconti Rembrandt with a medium nib, and I have it inked with an old favourite, Diamine Ancient Copper. Sorry, that's a fish tank if you can hear all those little noises. So Visconti Rembrandt white with a medium nib and inked with Diamine Ancient Copper. Next one, favourite pen and ink pairing, Just Turnings, my custom copper line with the Platinum 3776 medium nib on it. And I have it inked with, you guessed it, Teranashi Opera Rose. This is a pen that I've had in constant rotation since I've received it. And I keep inking it up with this ink because I just love it so much. I have tried other inks in it, but none of them I enjoy as much as this one. So Just Turnings, custom copper line, with platinum, I'm just going to put P3776 medium nib, inked with Teranashi Opera Rose. Beautiful. Next one we have here is the TWSBI Diamond 580. It's another carryover from last month, and I have that inked with Palette Aroshizuku Fuyugaki. It's got a bit of a gold sort of sheen to it in certain lights. This is a carryover from last month. It's got it's also worked really well, flowed very well, and I have about half a fill left in it. So TWSBI Diamond 580 in smoke, rose gold with a medium nib and inked with Pilot of Roshizuku, Fuyugaki, okay. Next one is my Lamy Vista, first fountain pen I ever received, or that I ever got. And last month, Pen Friend Tanya actually gave me a broad nib for it, so I've enjoyed putting that on this pen and using it. And I inked it up with a sample that she gave me, Dye Mine Peach Haze. It's almost like a neon sort of peach orange colour. It's just gorgeous. Uh-oh. No, I haven't run out. No. I've still got ink in it, I'm sure of it. Oh no, here we go. Whew. There we go. So, Lamy Vista with a broad nib, inked with Dye Mine Peach Haze. It's been another really lovely, enjoyable combo. I've enjoyed using the broad nib on that pen as well. So next one we've got is this Ferris Wheel Press Carousel pen. It has a medium nib, and I've got it inked with KWZ Honey, which was a sample from Gary. Thank you, Gary. And it's almost coming out a little bit like, I've cleaned this pen well and truly, but it's almost coming out like a completely different colour to the what's been swatched. So this is the Ferris Wheel Press Carousel pen. It's their inexpensive pen. They have a much dearer one, which I think in Australia retails for nearly $200. It's a metal bodied pen, but this is plastic. This has got a medium nib, and it is inked with KWZ Honey. There we go. Lovely smooth nib on it though. So, still got a little bit of ink left in this one. This is my Twisby Eco Tea and Saffron with a juicy broad nib, and it is inked with none other than Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn. On the downhill run now, guys. Hang in there for me. I should have told you to go and make yourself a cuppa at the beginning of this, shouldn't I? So this is a Twisby Eco Tea in Saffron with a very juicy broad nib, and it is inked with Ferris Wheel Press Buttered Popcorn. Gorgeous. So next one we have Twisby, Esterbrook Esty in Tortoise. It has a medium nib, and I have that inked with Dye Mine Earl Grey. So, Esterbrook Esty in Tortoise. Has a medium nib, and it is inked with Dye Mine Earl Grey. And lastly, but not least, I've got this Pilot Kakuno with a medium nib, and it is inked with Pilot Namiki Black. So this Pilot Cocoona is a great starter pen, I think. That or the Lamy Vista. Lamy's, just because they've got interchangeable nibs, so you could buy the one pen, and say you're not happy with the fine nib that you bought it in, you could then just buy the little nib unit in a medium or an extra fine or a broad or whatever and try that on it. So therefore you're not having to outlay a lot of money and buy all these different pens, although that's a lot of fun too. But yeah, having interchangeable nibs on a pen is very handy when you're just trying to sort of get a feel for things and what nib style you like. So this is the Pilot Cocoona. It's also a really good starter pen. It's in the clear finish. It has a medium nib and it is inked with Pilot Namiki Black. Really, really lovely. So that is all the pens we have for you. So I'll just do a little bit of a run through. I know it's been a long video. And comment below which one sort of appealed to you. Out of all the ones that I've done today, which one do you think is your favorite out of them all? Now, as always, when I do my currently inked videos each month, I do 3 envelopes to give away to subscribers. So it is open internationally, as long as I can post to your country. And what I get you to do is you have to comment down below and just comment with the actual, like, make it separate. If you're going to do a comment on the video, do that, but then if you're actually wanting one of these envelopes, you need to put it in a separate comment, just so I can see it really quickly and see that you've been the first person to claim that envelope. So this month we've got butterflies, we've got flowers, and we've got scuba diver, or scuba, let's just put, or diver, let's just put diver. So if you want any of these envelopes, you need to comment down below butterflies, flowers, or diver, and just make that your separate comment. And then once I get back to you and say, hey, yep, you were the first person to claim that envelope, you need to message me over on my IG account, which is JP Pen and Ink, and DM me your name and address details so I can actually put this in the post to you. If I don't hear back from you within, say, 3 or 4 days, I tend to then just move on to the next person. So anyway, so just keep that in mind. So butterflies, flowers, or diver. Okay, so that's all I have for you today, folks. Thank you so much for sticking with me and watching till the very end. I know it's been a long video, so I won't go on too much longer. Thank you so much to everyone who has watched today and stuck with it. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and I hope wherever you are in the world that you're taking good care of yourself, and I see you back here next time. Okay, bye everyone.